The GM, and this is Larry's Horns Happy Hour. Welcome, guys. Hopefully, you guys are gonna join in. We'll wait a couple seconds. We'll give everybody a minute or two to join in, and if nobody's here, we'll still go on with that. We'll put on the show either way. So, guys, this is a part of my plan for the website. If you went back to my New Year's Eve or my New Year's resolutions, one of the things I said is we will do more Longhorns content in 2023. And I know the Astros fans aren't going to really care about that are most of my content is Astros related. But we will be doing some Longhorn content. We'll cover the off season because, as we know, the off season is my season. And I was going to write in the article here for the Horns Happy Hour. Let me just tell this before while we get folks a chance to join. Like this is like the worst day of the college football season because we are the furthest away from the next day of college football or next game of college football. The day after the national championship game, we got to wait all the way to August sometime to be for the first game of the year. But there's a lot of things that happen, a lot of things that we'll be talking about today that can keep us engaged and entertained through the year. I'm going to turn the chat overlay off, and if folks do start chatting in the chat room with me, I'll turn it back on. Don't see anybody here, so if you're here, say hello. But Larry's Horns Happy Hour. So the game. This is week one, January 10th, 2023. We will call this the LHHH, Larry's Horns Happy Hour. And let's talk about what we're going to. So we will cover the depth chart. We will show the depth chart will always be embedded in this article, guys. So from a spot where if you're wanting to see updated thoughts on the depth chart or my thoughts on the 23 depth chart, it'll be here. Of course, we will have this video for this will be linked right here in the button. But let's talk about the Longhorn news. Jelani McDonald commits to the Longhorns. That was a big one. Obviously he did this back in December, but he announced it during the All Star game. And guys, Jelani McDonald was skyrocketing up the the recruiting rankings and was a superstar in the practices for the I guess it was the All American game. I don't know the titles of those games, but the one that was in San Antonio. And that's excellent news for us that he's joining the Longhorns. Also, in the last week, Jalen Catalon is committed to transfer to Texas, and he's a highly recruited prospect. He was a highly recruited prospect in 2019. Chose Arkansas over Texas, and was an SEC, all SEC in 2020. He's been injured a lot. He's had very few games in 21 and 22. But if we can get him back in a position, and he's gotten a medical clearance, I'm sure, and there's some rumors that he's believed to be healthy. So if we get a healthy Jalen Catalon, and he has had at least one season where he played at an all SEC level. That sounds pretty good for us in 2023. We'll talk about that, how he fits in when we get down to the bottom when we're talking about the depth chart. But, he could easily be a starter. Let's talk about the early enrollees because they are literally moving in. Some of them probably as we speak. Some of them moved in already. Um, but this group, guys, remember this group because we have 14 freshman early enrollees. I don't think this team's ever had 14 early enrollee freshmen because enrolling early wasn't really much of a thing until the last couple of years. This class, and you'll understand this when we get to the depth chart, but I'm predicting that Anthony Hill, Malik Muhammad will be starters for this team in 2023. and that Arch Manning will be officially the backup quarterback by the end of the season. John Day Cook, Darian Gillette, Gavin Holmes will all be considered second string. A lot of these other guys, third string, and Cedric Baxter easily could be second string, and Cedric Baxter could be first string. Just right now, I'm waiting to see what happens in the practices before I predict that. So the ease on here shows this particular table is showing the early enrollees. So if you're wondering, and I actually wondered about one of the players today, and I was like, hey, I'm confused. Is this it? It was McDonald. Is McDonald an early enrollee? I didn't think so, but I was trying to verify that, and I got my verification. So this is the active list of the early enrollees. There 15 players on the list. One is the transfer. That Gavin Holmes is an early enrollee, and there you see. I don't. Well, I guess I didn't check to see if Catalan was an early enrollee. We'll update as we go. The date on here, a lot of this will be kept updated and refreshed. So as we go, you will see that. Uh, so like I said, I expect uh, Hill and Muhammad to be starters, and several other players to be at least in the two deep, maybe even more than the four I've got listed there. So the other thing that's happening as we speak, or as we record this, is that players are making decisions, and apparently they have until the 16th, 1 week from yesterday, to formally declare whether or not they're going into the NFL draft. Um, and of course, the portal window I think closes either that same day or very close to that. Maybe it's the 18th. But the players that want to move to another team through the portal, they need to get enrolled in the college, and then basically that's about the 16th is about the last day players are going to be able to do that and come to Texas and be enrolled in the spring semester. So here we go from the players. The other part of this is like which players are leaving. Like, are they going to go to the draft? Where question was is Worthy going to transfer? And apparently, as of today, most signs are pointing to him staying. Whittington was either possibility to transfer or possibility going to the draft. I think the signs are showing that he's going to stay. Then we did get Christian Jones making a formal announcement that he is staying. um, and so it's interesting about Christian Jones is will he start? I don't think so, but I think he may be in a heavy rotation such that he'll play. He may play both inside and outside, so he may be both guard and tackle, and giving some of the guys help. So we're going to see the offensive line guys. Before we're done talking today, the offensive line on this team could be a really big strength in this next season. Jalen Ford is apparently also staying, although I think this is still a little touchy. But imagine a defense where we have both Jalen Ford and Anthony Hill Jr. I am looking forward to that. Let's hope that happens. Don't give up on that dream. Let's see what happens. So the situation's a little fluid. Stay tuned to this. We'll keep this updated. We'll talk about it again next week. If there's been any changes from what's happening here, or what if anybody's declared that we didn't think was going to. Also, from a moving in, moving out standpoint, we got Coach Marion is going to be apparently moving to UNLV to take the OC job there. Um, quite honestly, guys, there's an opportunity for us to bring in a very well regarded wide receiver coach. So we could possibly upgrade. Nothing against Coach Marion, but we could possibly upgrade even to a higher level coach for there. So stay tuned, and as we talk about portal news and who's going, who's staying. A lot of things are going to be happening this week, guys. This week is a big week for the transfer portal. Wanted to double back to the last article I really wrote about the Longhorns, which included essentially the depth chart as I saw it heading into the Alamo Bowl. And I don't know that I've adjusted it that much from the Alamo Bowl results in itself as much as I have, continuing monitoring a couple things. So I tweaked a few things, and of course, there's been a few additions to the roster for next year since. But I did have some conclusions about the Alamo Bowl as I live in San Antonio and getting the chance to really dig down and watch that game. I think this offense next year. I guess I'll say with some of the actions that were taken, some of the play calling in that game, I don't think the coaching staff really has a lot of confidence in this next wave of running backs, at least early, at least last, for the Alamo Bowl. And I don't expect them. I think the offense. I guess what I'm trying to say. Let me just jump to the conclusion. I think the offense is going to be more passing base. They're going to rely on Quinn Ewers, and Ewers is going to be better than he was this obviously in his freshman year. You can compare Ewers to other freshman quarterbacks at UT, and you'll actually get some of the greats were basically where Ewers was in their first year. And so I think this is going to be much more passing oriented and a real opportunity for these quarterbacks. Ewers, if Ewers doesn't have it, then look for Manning and look for Murphy to step in. The I don't think the team is going to have to be as patient with Ewers as they were when they got an Arch Manning available. And expect since Arch is coming in the spring, he's going to be in a lot better position than maybe any of us expect to be able to play, even in this true rookie in his true freshman year. I know that's not really what he and his family were projecting. Hey, we want him the red shirt, and that still might happen. But that happens if Ewers is good, and I think Ewers is going to be good. The wide receiver room, I'm just going to tell you, I expect there's going to be progress. I think they're going to find the right coach for this wide receiver room, and there's going to be progress. There's a lot of talk that I'm sorry, the Longhorns need to really add major assets at the wide receiver room. I think they're gonna. I believe that they will add one now in this week, and then they may be doing it as we speak, and then they will add another wide receiver after the spring practices as they figure out really where they're at. So if both Worthy and Winnington stay, and as of Tuesday to January 10th, that's what we're projecting that they're going to be doing. Um, then and we're hearing good reports on Nair and his injury recovery. Then I don't know that the Longhorns need to. They may go get to, but I think we also have to understand we've got Jonte Cook and a couple other really good young freshmen coming in too. And Jonte Cook could at least jump into one of these roles um, in the roster. So just and Jonte is also an early enrollee. So just I think this team is going to take one, and then they're going to kind of see what they have, and then they'll take another. Now, if they get great, high 4-star level transfer portal guys, then they'll take them. But I think the thing is that the wide receivers we get really need to be able to be better than Winnington, and that's not a low bar to cross. Sanders, guys, Sanders is a beast, and he is going to be really good. And my prediction is that Sanders is the best tight end in college football next year. That's the fan in me talking, but I really believe that he is going to be something incredible. Get ready also for this offensive line that's going to be now sophomores and juniors. They're going to be even better, and they weren't bad as freshmen and sophomores. And then we've got our senior coming back now too, as we talked about. Uh, if Ford isn't deemed back, I think this Longhorns defense is going to be really, really, really good. And 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 I just get excited. Brooks looked really good to be in the game. Kind of was forced into service during the game, and I think he will be a good option. So, one thing to be prepared for, and no one's really talking about this because I think they just expect it to happen. with the spring game, and players will see that, hey, they're far down on the pecking list and maybe they don't want to stay here. This team currently has what I believe is they currently have 87 scholarship players. They have to be down to 85 for the season starts. And that's not including giving the punter a scholarship, which I don't, I guess they don't necessarily have to, but he is a starting punter, and it would be nice. But plus, as we talked about the transfer portal, they want to add anywhere from 3 to 5. Some people even say more than 5 players in the transfer portal. They have for that to happen. They're going to have to lose players, or they're going to be asking players to leave to be able to bring in all that. So that's what's going to happen. All right, let's talk about some of the things ahead. And these are just some random, like, early thoughts for you guys to understand where Larry the GM's mind and where I'm thinking we may do some things for the Longhorn content. We're going to keep you updated on the portal needs after this week, and then what did we solve? What did we get? What do we still need? How does that compare with what we have? How did that work out? And then we'll revisit that as we come out of spring practice. Who's going to be leaving? What holds to that cause, and what where we need to upgrade to the transfer portal at that time. We'll monitor that wide receiver coach hire. How are we going to replace Marion? And comment when it happens. And similarly, we've got a basketball coach to hire. Not going to do a lot on that, but we may put a few comments in this in the Horns happy hour related to that. And similarly with baseball, I love baseball. As you guys know, I'm a huge Astros fan. I am now really regionally close enough to go to a few baseball games, for Horns baseball games, and I will be doing that as we progress through the year. So, also, as things develop, there's still discussions of where Texas and OU are going to the SEC in 2024, or is it still going to be 2025? We'll discuss that as it happens. And as you guys have seen on the website, we have periodically talked about the overall structure of the NCAA football, how we could be structured in years to come. Some of those will be topics as we go. So some of those are more long-term things, just to know that I'm thinking about, and other things are more immediate. Let's talk about the depth chart, because this is really going to be a permanent fixture here in the Horns Happy Hour link. You guys, hopefully, you will enjoy it. Hopefully, it'll mean meaningful content for you. But the current Longhorns projected depth chart, so I'm not going to go through these position. I am going to explain what this is saying. So you can look at it, dig in, and if you have questions, shoot me a message on the Larry the GM website, um, and you can seek me out on social media. But red here is starter or returning starter. Burnt orange is new starter. And then light orange is second string, second team, and yellow is third team. So this is where I project the players are going to be um, as we start the season next year, from who's going to start, who's going to be second team. Now, what I want you to do now, these are listed. These are sorted by their rank, by their prospect ranking score. I guess that's the 24/7 composite score. And so you can see where we're at here. Notice how many of so you got some seniors and juniors on the defense, but notice that the next one down, Sadir Mitchell, Christopher Ross, um, 3 freshmen there. You got a sophomore in Gervonta Sweat. Look at the edge. You got a freshman, a sophomore, a freshman, a freshman, a freshman, a freshman, a sophomore, a freshman. Your only upperclassman on the edge is Baron Sorrell, right? And so look at similarly on linebacker, freshman, 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 freshman. You got Jalen Ford, who's obviously developed quite a bit from where he was as a prospect. You see the same dynamic in the cornerback room. freshman, sophomore, freshman, sophomore, sophomore. You see that the higher upperclassmen and many of these position rankings are lower from a what I guess you'd say a recruiting talent, recruiting uh, projection of their talent. Uh, it's just saying what we're seeing here is we're seeing the huge impact of the 2022 and 2023 recruiting classes. Similarly, sophomore in the safety position, freshman, senior, freshman, senior, junior. So you can see that. So the defense, we got a lot of young guys on defense that we're going to be turning things over to. In some spots, we've got some seniors that are going to be starting that have obviously grown from where they were as recruits. But this is an interesting way to look at the offensive line, guys. Sophomore, freshman, junior, freshman, sophomore, junior, freshman, senior. Christian Jones. You notice I do not have him in red. I'm not projecting him to be a starter. I'm projecting G.J. Campbell is going to be starting right tackle. So you can see basically almost all of the offensive line top group except Jake Majors and Hayden Connor, the guys that are considered to have the most talent, all freshmen, all sophomores. That's the recruiting class of last year and then this year's recruiting class coming in. Um, you gotta look at the wide receiver room. Okay, we got Jordan Winnington coming back. Let's hope he comes back for his. I guess it's his fifth, maybe it's his sixth year. I don't remember. Jonte Cook, second most talented. Of course, we got Xavier Worthy. Now, talented meaning like their ranking as a recruit. That's not to say Jonte Cook's more talented than Xavier Worthy. I would never say that. But I'm saying that from a recruiting standpoint, this is where they were from our rankings, and you can see how incredibly talented uh, freshman our wide receiver room is. Uh, there you go, tight ends. You got Jahavian Sanders. He was a high 5-star tight end, guys. He's gonna be incredible this year. Enjoy the season, the 23 season with Jatavian Sanders and you're gonna hear me probably say this 100 times before now and then, but this may be the last time we get to enjoy Jatavian Sanders on the Longhorns. He's probably going pro after this year. Of course, then we got Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning. There's no quarterback room that looks at that at the top from a recruiting standpoint. And then we got Malik Murphy, really good quarterback. Now, Malik may actually start this next season, second string, and then Arch be redshirted. But there's our quarterback room. Here's our running back room, freshman, sophomore. Then we got Keelan as a senior, Jonathan Brooks as a sophomore. I'm projecting Jonathan Brooks as a starter right now, but guys, that could be Cedric Baxter before we're done with. We're going to see how things have play out. But there's the recruiting table. You see the specialist there, Ryan Sanborn, the only player on this depth chart that's not a scholarship player. But so just so you have that you can see where they were from a recruiting standpoint, where they project right now, from where I think they're projecting as far as what's being said about them, or who's going to start, who's going to be second string. We'll keep that updated and leave it here in the Horns Happy Hour list. So ask me questions about that, or say, hey Larry, what about this? I think this is maybe we got this wrong. Let's be good. All right, guys. So this is the time of the show for Q&A. I don't know if we have anybody here. Is anybody in the chat room that has a question? I'll give you guys a minute or two for that. But I will, before I finish up, please like the video, join the channel. We're going to be doing this Horns Happy Hour every week, either on Monday or Tuesday. I'll let you know if we're going to take a week off for something. They'll be a little bit shorter today. We're kicking it off and we're covering basically like 2 or 3 weeks worth of content. Next week probably be some content heavy stuff because we'll have some decisions about transfers. And like I said, it's going to be a huge week for transfer portal. But there you go, guys. So thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, join the channel, join the website. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. Hook 'em horns.